One of the things I want to talk about for sure is burnout. It's something that I'm dealing with
It's
right
good you
now.
start off with that because maybe some people were wondering why did you stop. So I guess burnout is a part of it.
Exactly. So I slow down a lot with from the media side of things. I really slow down a lot because I feel like I've been doing this for 7 years, back to back, every year, every vacation. I started with vacation first. Now it's more like you're living here, so you're doing it all the time. And at a certain
Burnout from
point,
what exactly? Because you didn't specify.
number one, I think the number one thing that causes burnout is repetitiveness. You're doing the same thing over and over every day. It's the same style of, which is nothing against particular people or anything like that. It's just that going through the repetitiveness of it make you feel like you don't really want to do it no more because you're not doing anything new. So that
Become
happened to me a
stagnant.
lot. Yeah, I believe I start to get, so I kind of like stop totally. I do photo shoots if it's something different.
Even
But
that is hard to justify.
yeah, even still then I might tell persons, hey, I'm just not really doing photo shoots at the moment. So if you really want to do a photo shoot, you have to look at a different avenue in order to do that, because the burnout thing, I used to watch a lot of persons on YouTube or TikTok,
Of similar interests.
reels, who had similar interests, and you notice that they also going through the same thing. Some of them even choose to stop doing it in general and start to do something else. So lately, what I've been doing recently is woodworking. How you call it? Woodworking or
Carpentry.
carpentry. Some people say carpentry. Some people say woodworking.
Although you don't want to call yourself as that yet.
No, I don't really want to call myself that because I just beginning.
You just started.
I just yeah, I just started. I just started with it. So basically, what I do now is I do a little bit of carpentry, woodworking, mostly kitchens and walk-in closets, but a little bit of everything. Learning how to go about different things because I want to do something more with my hands. Because when you use your mind a lot, you tend to
Yeah.
get very tired. I think that also is another reason why it causes a burnout, because your brain just practically tired.
You want to do something new, and that's normal. That's
Exactly.
okay because sometimes you're doing something for so long. You do want to take a chance and see what other potentials or anything that you can pick up along the way.
Exactly.
And also, this is one of your
Yeah, this,
creations in the
yeah.
background.
Yeah, this in the background.
And
Yeah.
yeah. So you're doing not only kitchens and so forth, but you're doing any and everything.
Yeah, different type of
around the
furniture,
house.
different type of stuff. In the beginning, it was dreadful. Well, I wouldn't say dreadful, but you have to learn. You have to make mistakes in order to learn and stuff like that. So,
But how
as
long
you
you
know,
doing this?
what the
Yeah,
carpentry
if
stuff.
you can remember.
I don't even want to say 6 months. I'm not sure if it's 6 months. I don't know if I reached 6 months as yet. You think I reached
Yeah.
6 months?
I think maybe 6 or 8 months.
Yeah, somewhere. It's not a year for sure, and it's not close to a year for sure.
I think it's 8 months maybe because I remember when you sent me the text message.
Yeah, the text message where someone didn't have no patience at all.
Yeah, for me to have asking me to have some patience with him, and I really appreciated that too
Yeah, so
because I didn't know you was taking this journey, and so far you surprised me how far how your skills improve. Your skills improve. Not that it was bad, but how your skills
it was
improve.
bad. She's
And
just trying
even
to
people,
downplay it.
because sometimes you do a project, set it aside, start back from scratch again. And then I'll be like, okay, what's this one you're doing now? But you really reach fast. Some people even ask you if you study for it, but YouTube is your best friend.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's
The school
just
of
the
YouTube.
way I learned how to do my own makeup was mainly off of YouTube. So
Exactly.
anything you really want to know how to do it, I'll suggest that you go to YouTube because YouTube is free education out there.
Exactly. If
Yeah.
you say you really can't, if you say you can't learn a specific something, it's because you're actually choosing not to. because you can learn anything on
Yeah,
YouTube.
because we all got internet. We all have a smartphone.
Exactly.
In this time now. So
Exactly.
it is possible for you to. It's just making time for it. That's the main thing.
That has been the main thing. But if
dedicating.
you really want to do something, you're gonna make the time for it. You're gonna get it done. So don't ever say, I don't have the time, or I can't really learn this because I have to go to school, or I gotta go to this specific course, or I have to go to this specific person. No. YouTube is broad. Even TikTok, you're learning stuff. Instagram,
although
Reels,
you do have
stuff.
some things that you might need to have a professional there with you, but for majority of things,
if it's what you're doing,
do,
photography, videography, makeup, like what you're doing, woodworking, a lot of different things. If you want to really learn them on YouTube, you could do so. It shouldn't be that easy.
But talking about burnout too, I also can say that I also fall into that, because I know many of you don't see me putting out like makeup, and makeup, like, oh, I don't see you. You're doing. Some people are asking me, you're doing makeup still, because I don't see anything out there with you. But I'd say I do makeup, but I don't put it out there because of that feeling, the burnout. And I think like I'm trying to find a next passion that I will be passionate about. That's why also I put out the ads on Facebook where are offering how to do your own makeup yourself. Exactly. Because I would like other persons to also know how to do their own makeup, and that will be a plus for me. Then I don't really have to do so much people makeup anymore like that. But I love makeup for myself. It ain't going anywhere, but for doing it for people, I'm not too sure how long in the future we'll continue doing that.
I could remember. I could remember when you first started. You're walking through the house and you're doing different things. And you're hearing Jacquil, and you're hearing I mean, a lot of people probably know what I'm talking about.
Jacquil.
Yeah. So you're hearing that throughout the house, but also I see that makeup is like different now, because back then it used to be a lot of colorful and the eyes thing. But what you prefer to do?
I honestly prefer neutrals. I don't like the colorful looks anymore. Even though in the beginning I used to like try to be creative and try like different colorful looks, but really now I love that low profile, like soft makeup. Yeah. And also those YouTube couples too also went through that phase, like Jackie Aina, Alyssa Ashley. Those are persons I really used to look at their makeup, because they always used to have the best tips and advice to give on YouTube. And also I saw that they took a pause on it.
Exactly.
So it's like, okay, so we all in the same loop. But I really right now I notice that makeup is not as colorful as before. No. It's more natural because it goes with everything, and people are using less makeup now. Doing makeup, but more for it to look like in a natural way.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I prefer it like that.
And seeing that you're talking about YouTube couples, we went through a phase too, and we also was doing kind of like the YouTube thing. I mean, it wasn't like a big, humongous couple, but what do you think caused us to kind of like, because I mean, a good bit of people used to watch it, but what do you think caused us to like stop doing that?
A good question. We did enjoy it because we used to have fun doing it. Mm-hmm. But I didn't want it to have, we didn't want it to have this perception of perfect. Like, although we used to really enjoy it genuinely, we started noticing like, okay, this how the other YouTube couples were going down, like people who we even used to look up to, and you would say like, ain't no way in hell something going like, and then in the end you get surprised. So it's like I didn't want us to go in that trajectory. I don't wanted us to go in that flow. So I said, let's take a break off of it, because and moving back to the island too. Yeah. Because we started in Holland. Because moving back to moving back here, I started working. And then after, you used to see like little children watching you. And they used to say, when you're putting up a video, although it was cute and nice, I felt a little influencer at the moment. But I didn't want it to be, to me, I feel like too much eyes was on me. And especially on a small island, you feel it.
Exactly.
And it's not, I love that people love the video, but for me, it felt kind of like overwhelming.
Yeah.
Although it wasn't overwhelmed, but just that you're such in a small community now, and every time you put out something, people are always like telling you like, but when we went Holland, we just put out a video and whoever see it. But now you're actually meeting those persons
We wasn't
face
seeing
to
nobody.
face.
We wasn't seeing nobody at all. You don't
Yeah.
see nobody. You live in
Yeah.
Groningen.
So
who
then
are you gonna
it
see?
make me more conscious, like
Yeah.
be careful, more careful of the content we put out. And at that point, it didn't feel like it would have come off natural.
Yeah.
Because you saw in your mind like, okay, is this okay? And also you got to look at the function that you're working at.
Okay, what's the teacher then?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I really have to be careful with what I really do put out.
Exactly.
Although I'm not a person, but it's just that double thinking aspect, I just didn't want it.
And how you feel, because you got two sides to that, because you got a side where, okay, I don't want to do things because you live on a small island and you can't, you're just mindful of those certain things, but at the same time you want to live your life how you want to live your life.
I want to live my life the way how I want to live it.
And how you yourself would feel like you're gonna balance that. How would you balance
Well,
that?
I stopped doing it. That's the first thing I did. Right now, for me to live the life I really want to live, like, okay, Stacia, we're in a small community, everybody, even if you don't put your business out there, like, people are still... But for me to balance it is that I always look forward to vacations.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Reset.
for us, yes, for that. So going on vacations is like a reboot, even if it's just to a nearby island or so. It's really good for us, for me,
Yeah.
to like, okay. Then when we come back, okay, back to reality. Save, work hard, okay, vacation time.
Yeah.
So that's how I think we find balance now.
Yeah.
How you feel? Why did you stop? Okay, ask
Before,
me.
yeah,
How
yeah.
did you feel about this YouTube thing?
Stopping with that,
Right, ain't
for
only
me, I think I wanted to stop when it reached to the point where we start with the pranks. The reason I wanted to stop, I mean, we had some good pranks. Honestly, we had some good pranks.
And it has some way.
But the serious side of it is where, for example, if I do something for you and it's something that, just give you an example, if something with flowers or something like that, at a certain point, you're going to be confused in your mind as to if I doing it just for, because I know you're going to get
But we
a
never
certain
went to that
reaction.
point.
No, but you try to avoid to go to that because a lot of the YouTube couples we used to watch used to do that. And at a certain point, you notice that, yeah, it's going to cause a certain... So I don't want to feel like the certain things you're doing,
You wanted to be genuine
I want you double thinking in your head, is he doing it because
for content.
for content, or is he, because he used to do the things, I think we did it twice, where we'll do something where we had a video where in the thumbnail I'm my knees, 1 me or something like that.
Yes.
Kind of like a fake proposal, because you know you're going to get a lot of reactions over that.
Clickbait. That was easy.
They had another one where I kind of looked like a crying inside the thumbnails, but eventually you have to constantly, and they're going to keep going up, and they're going to go up, and they're going to go up and up and up till they reach that point where, hey, how extreme you're going to be willing to go in order to get the amount of attention you need in order to do X, Y, Z.
And that's the thing. I'm glad you mentioned the attention.
Yeah.
We was just doing it for fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we did. We was young and we also wanted to see like, okay, where this YouTube gonna go.
Yeah.
But then after, I'm a person like you never want like the attention. That's why I stopped too. Like I noticed like, okay, so much attention was starting to come and.
Especially from younger children. A lot of children, you stop. Oh, yeah. And me coming back to the island, I didn't even know who the person was approaching me. Oh, I was watching your YouTube channel, and it's usually young children. And then at a certain point, you're gonna get mindful of.
And I don't want to do only things for little children. For children,
exactly.
And so that's why too. We're like, okay, I'm gonna have to like put my thing on a low, on a low scale. Although we did have a video come back out. I think that's when we did the photo shoot in the navy blue cross.
Yeah.
Out back. That was our last. I think we did a vlog.
I think the last thing we do together is more like a vlog style thing. A lot of people like that too.
As a YouTube, yeah.
But also, it's not something easy to do. Being consistent and doing YouTube, a lot of people start and then eventually they just stop because it's hard to keep up with that if you have a job. We now have kids. But in general, it's not something that you really have to be dedicated for you to consistently want to do that every single week.
Some people can do it. Some people can do it.
Yeah, but you have to take your hats off to people like that who actually could do it. And we try our best and we want to do that because out of consistency, you're going to get the results that you want to get. But it's not something easy. The first three videos you put out, you're going to stay on track. And then something going to come out and then you're going to end up missing 1 week. And then it's going to turn to 2 weeks and then turn to 3 weeks. Even with the podcast, it turned to a year and 3 months, a year and a good while before you actually...
But the podcast, why did you stop then?
Basically, I stopped the podcast because, number one, the setting up and putting up and doing all of that, those type of stuff, it got tiresome at a certain point because you have to, it doesn't start with me sitting down talking to the person. It starts with me going down by wherever we is. We used to do it at the fort at that time. I think almost all of them are around the fort.
Yeah.
In the nighttime. You just
used to choose like different parts of the fort.
If you know the fort, for persons who know the fort, you can't drive in the fort. So I have to take all the equipment, and that would take me about 5 to 6 trips to carry the equipment. I used to take the bench, pull it to where I wanted it to go. I used to have a battery, all my lighting equipment too, set it up, light up everything. And then you start the interview. And then after the interview, you have to take all the stuff, carry them back inside of the vehicle to bring it back up home again. And then you still have to edit it. And then to do that every week, it used to get tiresome because you have to edit the video. I was the one editing the video too. So it just used to take a lot out of me in order to do.
All the people like it because you did start off in a good time because I think politics was around going on and you interviewed those person.
But the show was never made
just for that.
Just for that. I started with politics because I kind of knew that everybody would have tuned in because politics was a big talk at that time. Yeah. So I used that at that time. I think it was only the first 6 episodes is where I stuck to politics, and I did 14 episodes. After that, it was businesses, mental health, like for example, the one we do with Gail. Those are the type of things that me personally, if I'm being honest, those are the things I like to do because I want to gear the podcast more towards mental health and people talking about their stories. It don't always have to be mental health alone. It could be a business, but more about people talking about their story, and it doesn't have to always be somebody who it could just be the average person just having a conversation, talking to them, what they go through on a daily, things you might not know. And I was like kind of surprised the one with Gail how well it did because immediately a whole lot, and people still up to this day when I ask them, which episode you like the most, it was the one with Gail.
I guess because it was really in depth, and then the person putting themselves out there. Not many people do that. And I don't think it ever had one where a person in Stacia that I know that
so
went on YouTube.
And I admire her too that she was willing to express herself in such a way.
Maybe you need a follow up soon.
Yeah, no, definitely. So Gail, I know we already talked about it already, so we're definitely going to follow up on that. But I really want people when they come on, speak your mind and speak, talk what you want to talk. It's like an open floor to speak how you want to speak. And this time is going to be not only with me, but also with my wife. So she's going to be on that side, and the person going to be right here in the middle, right here. And we're going to have a conversation because certain questions she might ask that I might not ask, and certain questions I might ask that she might not think about.
And I think that has to do like with our personalities too. You especially, we like deep conversations.
Exactly.
And you especially don't like small talks.
No, very much introverted. And they have a misconception with people who's introverted. They usually think the person's shy.
Yeah, because they're going to say, how are you introverted and you on this podcast?
It's not, has nothing to do with shy or being afraid to speak or don't know what to speak. Is the small talk. I do not like small talk, no way, shape, or form. So that's why with the podcast you might catch me talking a bit more. But in general, if you see me on the road and the most conversation, what you saying, what going on? Yeah, I cool. Then that's about it.
Yes, because some people might see you on the road and be like, okay, he's so quiet, he always to himself. They could say the same about me too. Because I think we are similar in that aspect because, you just speak when you need to when you need to speak.
Exactly.
And I just don't want to end up, just talking for talking's sake without any substance.
Exactly. So yeah, we try to avoid. Yeah, it might come off to certain people. I mean, I don't really care what come off to certain people, but it might come off to certain people as if you could get the words like, okay, you stuck up or you feel better than it's not that. It's just that I don't want to involve my energy into a conversation that is repetitive and they're going to talk about the same thing.
And I know something too that you also don't like is where you talk to someone, give them advice, and then you see it's like a cycle. Like, okay, I give it advice,
exactly.
You take it, I give it, and then it like after a while you just get tired of repeating yourself.
Exactly. If somebody asks me, if you come to me and you ask me, hey, I want to talk to you about something, I don't mind the first time I talk to you and you're like, okay, you're gone and you do whatever you do, but I'm not going to ever in my life ever repeat the same thing over to you and you come to me with the same story at a certain point and tell you, hey,
you'll do it once, twice, 3 times, and then after you're going to be...
But even if you have questions, I mean, when we talk about certain things, and anybody, not only with you, a lot of persons maybe will come and say, well, this happened. Most people I would say is, they gotta know. Yeah. That's my famous word. They gotta know.
You always have said they gotta know.
I don't go into it. I don't want to know. I don't want to involve myself in that. Because the first thing what's going to happen is if you say something about it, or if they have a conversation with you about it, first thing you're going to hear, I said something in relations to what it is happened when. So most times I just say, but they got to know.
Yeah, sometimes it'll even bother me sometimes. But it's true though. In the end, it's true like that. Like what you say.
I think
in the end, you don't stress yourself out. Like you don't put, I won't say stress, but I won't say you don't let things that you can't control bother you. Mm-mm. That's what you just tell me to. Because if you can't control it, why stress about it? Yeah.
What you could possibly do with something that...
It's true.
If you can't control it, you let it go its course and see what's going to happen. At the end of the day, if it's supposed to affect you, it's going to affect you. If you're supposed to know something, it's going to come to you. I feel like your energy is something that you have to protect. I mean, when I was younger, you never used to study about those things, but
it's a phase.
I read a lot, and energy is something that, as much as you don't think it's important, just having certain conversations with certain people can pull a certain energy out of you, and you don't want to waste your energy on this thing and then something else come that you really want to put your energy in, and you're wondering, but how come I don't feel so much about it? It's because you let someone pull all the energy out of you in something else that you wasn't really interested in, and now you're something you're interested in, your energy just gone. Or somebody come inside a room and you could just feel the energy. So
I do believe in that though.
You try as much as possible to protect your energy because that's the only thing you have.
But what built you to come on to that mindset?
It started in...
I know, but you can tell them.
Before I came here, I started reading. All these books here is from... I have a lot more because they're so heavy to ship, you can't really...
You have a lot of books.
Yeah, I have a lot of books in Holland still.
Got to come now.
But I think the initial spark for me reading came from my uncle. I don't want to know how true it is, but from my understanding, he read majority of the books in the library, which was Oos, and he passed away when I was in Holland, and I don't know what it is. I think it's just an energy thing, and he passed away, and then I think a week after, I just end up purchasing my first book. First book was the Celestine Prophecy. That book
That's a good one.
talks about energy. It tells you nothing happens in coincidence. Protect your energy because the person you let in can cause certain things to happen in your life. And that book is fully about energy alone. It's my favorite book still up to this day. It was the first book I purchased. That came out of me listening to Kevin Gates at that time. And that was a book that he recommended. And so happened that my uncle passed away a week, 2 weeks before. And it just so happened that that was a book that stuck with me the most up until now. So reading is what majority of the books I read is self-help. If it's not self-help, it's I would say like business, stuff like Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Really good one.
48 Laws of Power. Those those are the type of things I like to read.
But one thing I can say is that with you reading, I remember like, because we were in a 4 years long distance relationship, because I had to finish my studies in Curacao before we end up actually being together in the same place. And one thing I used to remember you saying is that, okay, you enjoy when you on the train, because sometimes it'll be a long distance, so you used to take the opportunity to read books, but at the same time, that's where your love for photography also was.
Exactly.
I'm not going back into that, but I just remember that was something that you used to like. And you was who brought me into reading self-help books. Yeah. And you do have a big impact on my life. But I noticed the benefit of reading self-help books. I know some other persons has read exactly.
But for me, self-help
it's like therapy.
Yeah, for me. You don't have access to a therapist or something like that, or someone, a psychologist you could sit down, and I feel like a book to me at that time was something that was kind of like my therapist to me.
It's true, and I also felt that way.
Yeah, whether it's biographies about people that I feel drawn to.
I think they have a book, that you did borrow to me. I think that was the first one, the one with
Charlemagne?
No, not Charlemagne. It was, what's his name? He is the biggest in R&B.
Oh, Tyrese.
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 That one was a good one.
That was a good one too.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of itself. It wasn't the one with Think Like a Man. It was one about himself and how he grew up and the traumas he went through in life.
And I completed
that was a big one for me too.
Yeah.
I think that was the second book I bought right after that. So, and those type of things teach you how to maneuver, how to go about certain things. So reading is not the coolest thing for a lot of people, but
I didn't used to like to read, honestly.
Me neither.
Growing up, you always used to hear the teacher say, read a book, go and read a book, or anybody, go and read a book. But at that time, it wasn't like of any interest until I became an adult, and then you telling me that you started reading self-help books, and I started on that journey too, and also it changed the way how I think and see life too. One of the books I really enjoy was Failing Forward. I recommend that book to anyone who feel like...
And why you recommend it?
Why I recommend it? Because the word says it itself, failing forward. You might think you're failing, but all of that builds you for what's destined for you.
Exactly.
So it building you up for what's there, already there for you. So sometimes you might think a door closes on you, but it's just preparing you and building up, to be capable and handle whatever comes your way.
Exactly.
I hope I describe it good.
Yeah, that's perfect. Perfect. You sound like I was on a TED Talk just now.
You put me on the spot. But anyway.
But reading is not the most popular thing for a lot of people. I try to refrain from telling people you read a lot because a lot of people just think because you read a lot and you feel certain things. But I read a lot. I slow down a lot here because everything is a short drive, a short this, a short that.
You're not sure you write anymore.
If I go away, sometimes I go with a book still just to read while on the plane. Like if I have a long trip or something like that. But I really have to get more back into, because the audiobooks don't really hit me the same. As
I even asked if you didn't want a Kindle, but you're like, no, you actually
I need to hold. I tried audiobooks. I tried the Kindle, like reading off a tablet thing with a Kindle. it don't feel the same. I like to smell. I don't know. I like to smell a brand new book and knowing that you're touching the book and you're going through the pages and it's just a different feel than just listening to an audiobook. I can listen, but you don't take in as much information.
It does something to your senses.
Yeah. If you want to put it that way. But opening a book and reading it is different than listening to it. I think with reading it, you're just taking way more information than just listening to it. So, I mean, it's just something we recently started to do. I actually about to order about 10 books just to have here.
I hope they all can fit here.
Eventually we're going to have to make more space. Or we're going to switch around the books and maybe we might talk about the books themselves.
Maybe we might have a moment too for you. Like,
because I have some books, like for example, the 48 Laws of Power is a very thick book and I read it 3 times.
That's also a good thing because maybe you might have some people who do enjoy books and maybe you can have them here.
Sit down and talk, for example. Explain, things like that you would want to do for sure.
For those persons who are interested in.
Yeah. And also if you all want to recommend us someone to talk to, please do so because we want to talk to as much persons as possible until we reach to a point where we have nobody else to talk to. We have to look somewhere else to start talking to people.
Yeah.
So
some of the podcast sessions, right, will be us, and some of them will be. Yeah. We would like to invite as much people as possible, but some of them will be just
exactly. Because we don't want to make it a guest-based podcast. We want to make it like us mostly talking, things that are going on, things that are happening. So now and then you're gonna hear some unpopular opinions, or you might hear things and it might spark a reaction within you, but we're going to talk about things that are happening and things like that. So prepare yourself for things like that too. But we also going to have guests, just not as much, but it's not a guest-based podcast. We want to have people on because we want people to talk about the different things, but it's not based on that. It's going to be mostly about me and...
Well, we can't make any set promises yet. We see how the flow goes. And
exactly.
Yeah.
They're going to have times we have a lot of guests behind each other, and might have times that we just don't have that much guests and we just talking to each other about different things. So that's mostly about the thing. So
this is our first podcast.
Yeah, the first one of many.
The year? Of the year? Is it of the year? First podcast?
Yeah, because the last time I did a podcast was last year. It was last year, I think March. I think that was 2022. I don't know, but it was a while back.
We're back here again.
Yeah. And the intention is to do it every week, for sure.
Yeah. But you did have a pause. We were going to start it sooner, but we had a situation where we wanted to have it like an outdoor setting where you self did your own work there. But
that didn't work. The wall and everything is done,
because of it being outdoors and then they have like a tree hanging over.
And a lot of birds and all of that. You know what the birds do?
Cleaner.
Exactly. And leaves from the trees and every day had to clean it up. So eventually it became too much for us.
Yeah.
So now we're inside.
We're looking forward to see what we can do. But for now we just came in.
Because we're going to alternate sometimes. Once that's finished, we're going to alternate. Okay, sometimes we're inside, sometimes we're outside. That's just how we're going to be sometimes, which we want to do for sure. A question I want to ask you before we end it, I don't want to end it just yet, but a question I want to ask you, what has having kids taught you? I know I didn't prep you before, I didn't ask you nothing before.
What have having kids taught me? Wow. That's a deep one. A real deep one. Especially me. That's a deep one. Why you put me in that spot? But what has having kids? Number one, let me compose myself.
No, let yourself go.
I wasn't raised by my mom or my father. So having kids and being your wife too, I can say I'm so grateful for you being there because you guide me through the process of being a parent, like in a household. I can just say love, like I just love them. I can't describe it. It's just like I love them and I can't imagine my life without them. And definitely patience for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, at times we used to be like, okay, we need to have a babysitter or so when we're going to do things or fun stuff.
Yeah.
But now we notice that, okay, it's okay to include them
Yeah.
because they're only going to be small for such time.
Exactly.
But we also enjoy the moment. Yeah, it's like, it also teaches you like fear, like, you love them so much that you don't want anything happen to them,
Mm-hmm.
but you know you have to leave them
Exactly.
be.
Exactly.
It's like a chicken with chicks.
Yeah. So then,
You know how
exactly.
how did it be when the girl was around now?
Exactly. You the setty hen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that for sure.
But I don't be like, yeah, I will, yeah, just love.
But then
I
my
hope-
question to you would be, what is something that you want to give them that you didn't get?
Love and attention.
So that's something definitely that, and I could see
Love
that you're
and
doing that.
attention.
I could definitely see that you're doing that. You just try your best to do as much as possible with them. You have your own time with them when you're sitting down with them and doing different lessons and things like that. So even that has made me
Arts and
feel,
craft.
it has made me feel, happy, of course, that things like that happening. And one thing, I don't know if it's just I believe most parents would understand this, but you'd have times where you just want to cry for no reason.
Do you see? That's why I say I had to compose myself.
That has come just out of the blue. Where you're just watching your children them and you're like, they're your children and you're watching them grow and everything, and you're just crying for, you just shed a tear for, you're just crying for, you get emotional for no reason whatsoever. I don't know if other people can relate to it, but you just get emotional for no reason, absolutely not. And then the certain things that they say to you, and now that they're getting older, they're telling you certain things, or out of the blue, they're going to tell you, yeah, I love you, I love daddy, or I love, and those type of things, they don't know that it affecting you in a certain way, but it just does, it does touch a certain spot, and it does make you want to cry out of nowhere. Out of nowhere, you want to get emotional. So,
I mean, what have it taught you? You asked me the question. From children, being a parent.
I think it's different for me than you. Reason being is I grew up in a household where it was not perfect. I'm not going to say it's perfect at all, but I at least grew up in a household where I had both parents in the household itself. What it has taught me is definitely having patience and time. I would go as far as to
time.
Don't take on a certain something or a project or a photo shoot because maybe you might not know, but I might turn on for not even tell you that I'm doing it, but because I want to spend time with everybody, the kids and everybody, because I just want to do it, because I don't want weekends going to just be filled totally with work. Already a busy person, and you don't want to just follow with that, and then your only memories you have is you working and then your children with.
But that's good that you mentioned that, because we didn't even think on that, but that was also a part of why you actually did pause on photo shoots too.
That was the biggest pause, because you're trying to say it in a way that they don't come off a certain way, but
it was only with them.
I want to be as active as possible as a parent. So it's not because Paula is the mother means that she has to get up every time the children get up in the middle of the night. Of course, you have to breastfeeding at the same time too, but I would also want to get up. I would also try to get her to, okay, you don't get up this time. You just stay and rest. Once we start doing the bottle thing and stuff, because we were mixing between the two, you want to be as active as possible. No, you go do your thing. I gonna thing with the children then, because a lot of people, I think I just feel sometimes insulted when someone asks me, "Oh, you need me to come in and look at the children, or you need help or something?"
Oh yeah.
Technically speaking, I don't. I happy that you want to help me. I don't, to say need it. No. I can handle children on my own. There's there's two kids. I still can handle my own.
Get used to it.
I never had an issue with having to handle them, but honestly, the toll it would take on our relationship, because you're so focused on the kids. If you're a parent out there in a relationship, you're probably going to understand what I'm trying to say. But at the end of the day, before you had the kids, you have the person you're in a relationship with. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you become so lost in the children that you forget your partner or the person you're with. And next thing you know, you not doing things you used to do because you don't have the time to do the things you do. So I would encourage people as much as possible to make time for the person. Yeah, the person you're with. We still working on it. We try to do it as much as possible, but we reach to a point where you just like, you're kind of like, your life only revolves on the children.
Yeah.
And you need to have time for building of the relationship, because the children come from the relationship self. they come from them same date nights and those same little smaller things you end up doing, and the date nights coming to our.
And then it came to a spoiler to the date.
Exactly. So, as much as possible, you gotta try to not forget how the children get there in the first place. Is the person you was with is what made it. So it's just that. Yeah, you're definitely happy for the children, but a lot of times you forget.
Some people go that you bring that up because it had an Instagram post where I think I just sent it to you, where it had this father who was telling the child, "My wife come first."
Yeah, I remember that.
And I think I sent it to you.
Yeah.
Some people was like against it.
Yeah.
How you feel about
it's very
that?
clear to me. Wife come first and the children come after. Why? Because if I could watch Zuri and Zayn, I could watch the twins, and I can see if they see us loving and hugging each other, and how happy they just get, and how involved they just try to get seeing us.
And when we do that, they deserve that end up coming.
They deserve that, exactly. So, as much as you think that you have to fully and pour yourself so much into your kids, you also need to pour into yourself. So, I ain't just saying it for the podcast day. I'm saying it because the relationship, you don't want to turn in a house where they can see that there is kind of tension between the two. Yeah. It's not
a loving home.
Yeah, that comes first. Relationship comes first, then the children, and then everything else that follows after. That's how I see it. To suggest how you sent it to me and how the guy was talking in it, where you have to tell the children. I believe that I understand too.
Yeah.
Because I believe if I sit down and I talk to any one of them, whether it's Zuri or Zayn, and I say, hey, mommy and daddy going out to eat, or we're going on a plane, we're going to Manhattan, they're going to be thing of course, but eventually
now
they're
they understand.
Like, they'll be like, okay, they're going to, and now the end, of course, they're asking when they're going on a plane.
Yeah.
So, but I believe they understand, and for me, the answer is, of course.
But even now, we're thinking on ways on how we can travel more often with them. Too.
Yeah.
Because we only travel for work. We have no choice, really. But
exactly.
But
you try to involve them as much as possible.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, these are our children.
And not to say like you're trying to make this journey easy. It's not easy, like you say. Mm-mm. It also patience. So it teaches you to have patience.
Exactly.
And it's work in progress.
Exactly. And it's every day you learn. You're never gonna know it perfect. Every day you learn something new. Especially with the children them. And we learn as we go. It's the first time we having children, so you're never gonna know anything. How we was tossed into it in the beginning.
We were tossed into it.
No, I mean like when we get the kids, we didn't have no help, and we couldn't have no help.
For at least we thought it would be over, but
at least until it was 4 or 5 months, we couldn't have no help. Why?
No.
Because
until then, because for the first birthday we ended up getting COVID.
Exactly.
So they had.
It was a very long time that we couldn't really get nobody to help us, and rightfully so, because they had a whole pandemic going on and stuff like that. So It wasn't an easy.
One.
Yeah, it wasn't easy at all, and I think that they got extra toll on top of stuff. But we make it out. We doing well for ourselves
No,
right
they're
now.
doing. Yeah, we're doing
Yeah,
good.
and it gets. I always used to tell you from the beginning. Once they reach like 3
Yeah,
and that type of thing, that's when I like.
fun time.
Yeah, that was when I. Not to say I don't like when they're very small, but then you're so cautious
Because you were
and you're
losing
so.
sleep. Like when they're young, like the
You're
first
barely sleeping.
2 years. First 2 years, yeah.
You're barely sleeping, and then they had this one time when they wasn't on the same rhythm.
Oh boy,
Where
that was worse.
where one sleep, the other one up, and that was
That was the worst.
that was
time.
rough. Yeah, that was rough. We then after we get them back on it, but when it was
Yeah.
that time period, it was very difficult in order to do that.
Yeah. Well, we here now.
Exactly, and we're grateful for it. It taught us a lot. It wasn't easy, and yeah. This was the first episode
Of the year.
Went smoother than we think. It went smoother than I thought.
Let us know how you all feel about it.
Yeah, who you want us to talk to?
suggest-
We have a few already, that at least 3 or 4 that already person that we ask, and we just have to schedule them in.
Where can they reach us?
You can reach us anyway. Mostly for me personally, I would say on Instagram.
Instagram is better.
And most of the time on Instagram, majority of the time. So if you want to really get me, or send me a suggestion of a person you want to think, that'd be the best place to reach me.
Not in your DMs, but in your DMs.
Yeah. It doesn't matter.
Anyway, so you have your email too.
I have an email, info@jacquil-imagery.com. A lot of people don't know emails, but if you want to send it via email, you can send it there. Or my Jacquil Imagery. Do not send it to my personal page on Facebook, because majority of the messages
It's
blocked,
something with
so I'm never
Facebook.
going to see it.
Yeah, because Facebook just send it to request.
Yeah,
then
and
it
I
happened
don't,
to me.
I do not look in it
Months
at all.
after you will notice someone send you something.
So send it, if you send it to my business page self, I'll see it. But if you send it to my personal page,
Yeah.
I'm not going to see it at all. So it's either going to send it to me on Instagram, where for sure you're going to get me, or to my business page on Instagram, on Facebook. Then for sure,
Instagram is the best place, because
Instagram
we really does be
are usually on that 24/7.
on that.
If you look at my Instagram page,
Yeah.
it's more active than my
Your
Facebook
Facebook.
page for sure.
Yeah.
So if you want to get us, even Paula, you could get on that on Instagram. What's your
Whichever
handle now?
one. What's my name?
Yeah, it went from
It is
what's
on
on
Kids
Kids
Queen.
Screen. Now she's your
It's
favorite.
your fave.
It's your favorite. Well, she's
Yeah.
your favorite now. It's your
But you
favorite.
put it down in the
Yeah, it's gonna be there anyhow.
Sure.
So if you want to message us about something like that, you just let us know. So this was the episode number 1. We're trying to make it to 100, even more than that. But we start with number 1. Consistency is the
I'm the
main
co-host.
ingredient.
Yeah.
They don't have no co-host, because we both host. Sometimes it may be only you. But
That would be interesting.
yeah.
That's
Hope
it.
you guys enjoyed the episode, and see you guys in the next one.